Faith Matters. An interactive program brought to you by MTA International.
Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to another program of Faith Matters, an interactive program in which we discuss current and topical issues regarding the religion of Islam, as taught to us in the Holy Quran and by the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and as expanded upon by Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian, the promised Messiah, and Imam Mahdi, the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat. With me in the studio today, I have Imam Ataul Mujib Rashid Sahib, who is Imam of the London Mosque and Missionary in Charge, United Kingdom. Dr. Zahid Khan Sahib, who is President of the Qaza Board, United Kingdom. And Mirza Nasir Ahmed Sahib, who is a lecturer at Jamia Ahmadiyya, United Kingdom. In a previous program, we were discussing the importance and blessings of the month of Ramadan, which this program comes near the end of. And as a result of the previous program, we received a number of questions that people had following either topics that were discussed in the program or things that came to their mind afterwards. One of the topics, Imam Sahib, that came up that we discussed last time was about the sighting of the new moon and how to identify the blessed month of Ramadan. It's interesting that in recent press that we have seen in the UK, apparently a European Council, a Muslim European Council, has issued an edict that the sighting of the new moon for the month of that will sign the month of Shawwal and the sighting of Eid is on the 20th of September, and that they say is going to be the same across the whole of the world. Perhaps you could shed some light on this edict that we hear in the press.
Well, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I would like to say that it's really a very sad story that while we are talking about the blessed month of Ramadan and the blessed Eid occasion coming up very soon, always there is a conflict. There is always double opinion. And not only in one country, but in separate countries, neighboring countries, joining countries, there is always a difference of opinion. And I must say in the very beginning that it is only by the grace of Allah, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, which is headed by the system of Khilafat. We have got Khalifatul Masih as the administrative and the spiritual head of the community. And because of this blessing, by the grace of Allah, there is never ever any conflict on the subject of the sighting of the moon. It is basically very simple. I always wonder why people can't really understand. I think without repeating what I mentioned in the last program, there are three basic criteria of the sighting of the moon. The first one is that the scientific age of the moon should be well above 20 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours maybe. And then there is a possibility of the sighting, but not less than that. The second is that the degree of elongation should be not less than 10 degrees, must be more than that. And the third very obvious condition is that the moon setting should be after the sun setting. Sun should go first and the moon should go down later. Now it is very strange with reference to the point we have mentioned that some council has announced that the new sighting will be on the 19th and the Eid will be on 20th. I just can mention that while the two first conditions are generally, I can say they are satisfied there. But the third very clear and obvious condition is not at all satisfied. Rather, everyone will be surprised to find that on 19th, according to the values available from the relevant departments and offices, the moon setting is 15 minutes before the sunset. So there is a lag of minus 15 minutes. So how is it on earth possible that anybody could have seen the moon or could possibly see that one? So it is very strange, that still they are announcing it that the Eid in the whole world should be on one day.
And the other aspect of the claim that we hear recently is that this will be the same across the world.
Yes. That is also totally...
That's right. I mean, we touched on this last time about the longitude and the earth not being flat. So because it is round, it cannot be sighted on the same day for Eid to occur on the same day. So that is a phenomenon which could not be possible. And as Imam Sahib has said, If the moon is set before the sun has set, there is no possibility that the moon will be sighted. And another interesting point from that is about the unity within Islam. Perhaps they are trying erroneously to actually enforce this upon the Ummah of Islam as being coming together on the one hand, but that is not correct. And only as we know is that recognizing the Imam of the age and having the leadership of the Khilafat can we be united on the one hand, and not of course on this aspect of the moon sighting when we know it cannot be possible at all. And what practically we will see is that not all Muslims throughout the world will celebrate Eid on the 20th. For sure, this will not be united, and we will practically see on the 20th and 21st of September that Muslims around the world will celebrate Eid on different days, and even in the UK.
So, how can they be united on this particular question? They have not been united on this particular question for the last 1400 years. Just as they have never been united on who the Muslim is, what is the definition of a Muslim. So just as they are not united on this particular question as to, who the Muslim is, and they have not been able to find out the definition of a true Muslim. So similarly, they can never be united on this particular question as well.
And it's also very sad that you hear stories, and it's sad that perhaps they're not anecdotal stories about in some Indian subcontinent countries where you have Maulvis sat in a room deciding amongst themselves when a particular month will begin or a particular month will end. And yet when we have the full gamut of scientific information and expertise in front of us to allow us to determine things such as when the new moon can be sighted, to determine when Eid would be, those aren't made avail of by the majority of Muslims.
That's
One
right.
thing more is there that this claim which has been made that Muslims all over the world, they are going to have it on one day. This is, as Zahid Sahab has mentioned, is not practically scientifically possible.
That's
Moreover,
right.
religiously, it is not the requirement.
Sure.
Nowhere it is mentioned in the teachings of Islam that Muslims all over the world, they must start Ramzan on one day and have the Eid on one day.
Yeah.
Only the people who are in one horizon, single horizon,
They
the same
have their own
horizon, of course the sighting will be the same. So they will be following it. So therefore it is not really the intention of Islam that all the people should be celebrating Eid or start the Ramzan on one day, because the values are different, situations are different, earth is round, and sighting on one single day is not possible. So nowhere it can ever be possible there.
They are devoid of this blessing simply because, as Khan Sahib has pointed out, that because they are not united behind one Imam. So that's the reason of their discord, that because they do not have one Jamaat, they do not have one Imam, and it's because of the blessings of Khilafat that whatever the Imam says, we follow that, and Imam tells us to follow the laws of nature, to follow what the Holy Prophet ﷺ has said, and he has very clearly said, Sumu li royatihi wa aftiru li royatihi. So when the royat is possible, then we celebrate our Eid. When the royat is not possible, how can we celebrate Eid? So let them be disunited, doesn't matter.
One thing more I may just point out, that every year by the grace of Allah, we have a heavenly testimony about the correct decision which is taken by the Jamaat with the under the kind guidance of the system of Khilafat. This year as well it happened. On the 13th night, it was the moon of the 14th which was visible there. So it means the night is first, then the moon was the 14th, and the next day was the 14th Roza and the fasting. So that was exactly right, indicating that our calculation by the grace of Allah was absolutely right, and that was such a simple thing which everybody could see with their own eyes.